Hey guys, it's Frey here, and I want to talk to you this week about worry. There's a famous passage of scripture. I think it might possibly be one of the most well-known and well-loved passages in all of the Bible. It starts with those famous words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." The passage is Psalm 23. It's a song, it's a hymn of praise to God, praising God for who He is and what His involvement in our life looks like. In last week's video about anxiety, I talked about that the antidote of anxiety is believing that God is intimately and personally involved in the details of our lives. And Psalm 23 explores what that looks like. And it begins with those well-known words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Many of us have heard these words throughout our lives, and we've recited them in prayers or in songs, but the question I have for us is, are they true? Do they hold up? Is it true that if the Lord is my shepherd, I don't need anything? I don't need to worry. I don't need to be anxious about today or tomorrow, but that the Lord is my shepherd, so I shall not want. Do these words hold up in real life? As Mary and I walk through the challenges of a chronic illness and some of the details that are involved with that, health insurance and hospital bills and the uncertainties of the future and not knowing how she's gonna feel tomorrow, or not the uncertainty and the unpredictability of trying to make plans and looking out 1, 2, 3, 5 years ahead and not knowing what that looks like. It's hard not to worry in times like these. It's hard to really believe that there is a scenario in this world where I do not need to worry. I do not need to be in want. Those words from Psalm 23 literally mean, if the Lord is my shepherd, I will not lack anything. But often when we think about the future, it's this and that and the next thing that we need to get into place, that we need to get the details on and get figured out. And when that happens, worry seems to, like a snowfall, surround us like a blanket that just envelops us with the weight of worry. And so what Psalm 23 does is it proposes another scenario. It proposes a situation in which God, who is intimately and personally involved in the details of our lives, in which He comes to us like a shepherd. Now it's a picture for God that is perhaps unfamiliar to many of us. Sheep are really, really, really dumb. They can't survive on their own. They need someone to look out for them, because left to themselves, they will wander in the fields and find themselves in danger. They will literally starve themselves because they've eaten all the grass around them when 10 feet away from them is another patch of grass. This is shepherding. It's taking these dumb animals and leading them for their well-being. And what Psalm 23 does is it proposes a picture for God in which He is our shepherd. Now, if we're honest, we're all pretty dumb. If left to ourselves, we will wallow in the fields of worry. We'll get stuck in the rut of anxiety, and we'll think about the future and be stuck in the moment because fear, anxiety, worry overwhelms us. But this is what God does, and this is what the picture of Psalm 23 proposes, is that the Lord comes and He goes before us to provide for us. That's what the first 3 verses in the psalm say. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. It's a picture of God going before us, leading us, providing good things. He makes us lie down in green pastures. And this is what God's involvement in our lives looks like. And this is the antidote to anxiety and worry. It's the belief that God knows what is best for us, and that He will go before us, and He will pave the way, and He will lead us in the right paths. It's a picture of a coach who stands on the sidelines calling the plays and saying, I'm leading you, I'm gonna take you to the end goal, but you gotta listen to my calls. You gotta play the game as I've taught you to play it. And that's what God does. That's what His Word does. It leads us in paths of righteousness. And then it says, for His name's sake. I love it at the end of the Super Bowl or at the end of a big game. The coach has stood on the sidelines. He's been calling the shots. He's been leading his team. And when that coach leads them to victory, the team surrounds that coach and lifts him on their shoulders, and he gets the glory. And that's what happens when God leads us. He gives us right paths, and we trust Him, and we follow Him, and we follow what His Word tells us. And at the end of the game, at the end of our lives, at the end of our days, we lift Him up and say, it was for your name's sake, for your glory, for your praise. But here's what Psalm 23 does. It doesn't leave God on the sidelines. He's not just a coach calling the shots in life. He doesn't just go before us to lead us. He walks with us to comfort us. And this is what He says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, even though I walk through the dangerous situations and the fearful situations of life, I will fear no evil. And this is why He says, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You see, not only does God go before us to lead us, He walks with us to comfort us. And not only that, but He comes behind us. And this is the picture of Psalm 23, of the Lord going before us as our shepherd, of Him walking with us as our protector. And then He says, you prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You see, the scene shifts in these final verses of Psalm 23, and we're taken from the fields of the shepherd imagery, and we are taken to the future. We're given a glimpse of what's to come, and we're told that God has promised good things for those who follow Him, for those who walk with Him, that He's preparing a table, that one day we will sit with our Maker and we will feast with Him and enjoy the life that He created for us. And this is what He does. He gives us this promise for the future. And what that promise does, it is the goodness and mercy of God that comes behind us, and it pursues us in all the days of our lives. It says, keep on going. It's trust me, it's worth it. And this hope for the future comes behind us and pursues us like the winds of hope, like that gust of wind, that the weekend is coming, that the end is coming. And even though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we do not need to wallow in worry. We do not need to fear evil, because the Lord He goes before us as our shepherd. He walks with us as our comforter. And his promises, they pursue us. And so guys, I'm here as one who you could probably call a worrywart, who is prone to wallow in the fields of worry. And as Mary and I look at the future and as we walk through our days, it's easy to get caught up in the weight of worry. But Psalm 23 reminds us, trust the shepherd. Trust God. He's got you surrounded. He goes before you to lead you. He walks with you to comfort you. And his promises, they pursue you. So you don't need to worry. He's got you surrounded. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this is an encouragement to you. I invite you to come back next week. I'm going to revisit this topic of anxiety and worry, and we're going to look at one more passage and what it says about the Lord's involvement in our lives. I hope these videos are an encouragement to you as you guys walk through whatever you're walking through. I invite you to leave a comment and just say hello. Let me know what you're walking through. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.